The ND75 was one of the best budget keyboards of 2024, so let's see how does it compare to its big brother, the ND TKL. The ND TKL is Chilkey's latest iteration into the ND lineup, the first being the most successful, the ND75, followed by its little brother ND65, and now the ND TKL. The board starts at $109 and comes in 2 types of PCBs, 2 types of plates, and 4 colorways to choose from: black, white, sky blue, and milky green. My unit for today's review will be the sky blue variant with a 1.6mm non-flex cut PCB. This board shares a lot of features from the ND75. Like the ND75, it's a tri-mode aluminum pre-built with a quick disassembly system. It's nice to see this system being implemented into these boards. Now let's move on to the ND75 unboxing. The ND75 starts at $99 and comes in 2 types of PCBs, 2 types of switches, and 5 colorways to choose from: jet black, pure white, mountain blue, elegant purple, and the new edition colorway milk tea, which is the one that I have today. Apart from the color variant, this is the 1.2mm flex cut PCB with blue lotus switches. Previously, you could only go with one switch from them, which is called the blue dopamine switches. Unfortunately for the ND TKL, you can only get it with the blue lotus switches. Before we take a further look at these 2 boards, let's take a deeper dive at their pricings. So for the ND TKL, the price differs from the type of colorway and plate you get. Specifically, if you get the black color with the polycarbonate plate, it'll cost you $109. This is the cheapest option offered. If you choose with an aluminum plate, it'll cost you $112. Now, if you're getting the rest of the colorways with the polycarbonate plate, it will cost you $115, while the aluminum plate will cost you $118. At the time of making this video, only one type of PCB will be available if you choose a different plate. I don't think this will affect the price regardless of which PCB you're choosing. What matters is the colorways and plate options. Now for the ND75. For whichever PCB and switch option you choose, the jet black, mountain blue, and elegant purple will cost you $99, whereas pure white and milk tea will cost you $105. There is actually a bare bones kit of the ND75 available as well if that interests you. Like the pre-built version, if you get any of the 3 colorways mentioned earlier, it will cost $89, while pure white will cost $95. So let's take a look at the ND TKL's design. It has a nice clean look with bezels that aren't too thick. The anodization feels smooth with no noticeable signs of manufacturing marks. On the side, there is a little unique module that glows in the dark when it reacts with light. And on the top side, the Type-C port is nicely recessed in the middle of the backweight. Speaking of the backweight, I really love the design. The CNC of the raw aluminum and the ND logo looks really unique. In terms of the overall aesthetics, I think it's pretty smart to have this, and it's pretty cheap to do while making it look premium at the same time. For the ND75, almost every part of its design and aesthetic of this keyboard was ported into the ND TKL. Only difference is that the ND75 has thicker bezels and comes with a TFT screen at the side, taking up 2 units or 2 keys. And it also has a different CNC pattern on the back. So that's about it for the aesthetics. Now let's take a look at the switches. Both boards are using Kale Blue Lotus switches. These are 3-pin linears that are factory looped with the top housing made out of polycarbonate, bottom housing made out of PA66, and a long pole dustproof stem made out of POM. It has a total travel of 3.5mm, a pre-travel of 1.9mm, it actuates at 45 grams and bottoms out at 50 grams. The factory loop is lightly applied onto the legs of the stem and not the rails, which we usually see in other switches, so the looping job is more focused on the stem leaves itself. Moving on to the keycaps, these are chair profile keycaps made out of double shot PBT. Thanks to the double shot process, it's quite thick and high quality. The legend printing is solid with no noticeable imperfections, so in my opinion, these stock keycaps are really good for the price. Now let's take a look at the inside of these boards. As mentioned, this uses a rapid disassembly system which consists of a ball catch mount and a magnetic connector between the PCB and daughter board. With a rapid disassembly system, it makes disassembly super convenient and it's really good for those who frequently twinkle with boards. All you need to do is separate the top and bottom housing with a little force and they both come off. Disassembling the ND TKL was straightforward, however when it came to the ND75 I needed to remove the flat ribbon cable from the TFT screen. I find this really annoying and it gives somewhat a setback if you need to quickly disassemble the board. I wish Chilkey could address this issue by adding another magnetic board or perhaps a pogo pin connector, just like the newly released Zoom 75 Tiga. Go check out the showcase out on the channel if you haven't already. Moving on to the PCB, both boards are using 5-pin south-facing hot swap with KL style sockets. They come with PCB mount holes so that you can replace the stock mount plate stabs with your own clip-in or screw-in stabs. Do note that not all third-party PCB mounted stabs can fit through the stock plate, so make sure to do some research if they are compatible or not. As far as I know, Duroc V2 or Wutray size stabs should be able to fit through. The power switch is located underneath the tab keycap of the ND TKL and the right shift keycap of the ND 75. I've mentioned this in my previous reviews, but I don't really like this implementation. You're always required to carry around a keycap puller in order to have access to the switch. I really think using the function keys itself could act as the power switch instead. Now if you have noticed, the PCBs can support step caps lock keycaps. There is clearance with the place, so it is possible to install a step caps lock keycap if you want to. For the magnetic connector from the PCBs, it still connects to a daughter board with a flat ribbon cable. This gives space for the PCB to travel through when using various mounts, but at the same time, it can be fragile and could potentially get damaged over time. While there is a replacement cable included, I don't find this as a viable solution for the long term. Last but not least, the foams. The ND75 comes with Poron case foam, PET sheet for the case, Poron plate foam, IXPE foam, and PET sheet for the PCB. And for the ND TKL, it has a Poron case foam, PET for the case, Poron plate foam, and IXPE foam. There isn't a PET sheet for the PCB included. At first I thought they forgot to include it, but it turns out you don't actually get it. The Poron case foam for the ND75 is significantly thicker, while the ND TKL is thinner as you can see here. Another difference is that the ND TKL's case foam is that it has a sticky adhesive that sticks onto the back of the PCB. I personally don't like this because it can tear off easily like paper. And now for the moment you have all been waiting for, the sound test. For today's video, I'll be only testing the boards out in its stock and foamless configuration. Unfortunately, this video has already taken up too much time, so I will leave the other configurations in a separate sound test video. The stock ND TKL will be using the silica gel mount, while the ND75 will be using the split O-ring mount. With that being said, here's how they sound like. So how does it sound stock? Firstly, for the ND TKL, it has a really great medium pitch clacky sound signature which surprised me as I thought it would sound dense. The typing feel of the silica gel mount with the aluminium plate feels stiff, which I really like as I prefer a stiffer typing experience. As for the ND75, it has a lower pitch stocky sound signature compared to the ND TKL. As expected, the typing feel felt slightly bouncy and a bit soft because of the split O-ring mount, as well as the flex cut PC plate and PCB. I'm honestly not too surprised at this as I've already tried a lot of the same configs on various boards. So hearing the difference on the ND TKL really impressed me the most compared to the ND75. For the overall sound signature, it's based on your personal preference, so I bet some of you guys will like the stock config of the ND75. Now let's take them apart and go for a foamless config. Keep in mind that the foamless build will be using the same stock mounts used from the previous sound test. Other than that, all foams and PET sheets will be removed. So these boards definitely sound slightly higher pitched than stock, although the overall sound signature is still hollow and thin. I do think that the ND TKL sounds better than the ND75. That's probably due to the non-flex cut PCB and stiffer aluminum plate. It does have a slightly higher pitch than the ND75. As for the ND75, the board is full of flex and sounds really pingy. Unfortunately, this is the type of board that heavily relies on the included foam in order to bring out most of the sound in its stocky profile. The amount of flex cuts makes this board really feel bouncy, which I find really unpleasant. Nevertheless, the ND TKL and 75 are not built entirely for foamless clacky configurations. Both of their bottom housings are basically the same as you can see here. Now upon further inspection, I discovered that these two boards come with their own silicone dampening rings for a force break mod. However, apparently my ND TKL didn't come with any of it, even though it suggests that there are spots for the silicone to be installed. The force break mount is used to reduce the case resonance, but for this board, it doesn't sound that bad, so it's good enough without it anyways. So how about the functionalities? Well, instead of reconfiguring the keybinds via QMK or VIA, this uses Chilkey's own proprietary web configurator using Netlify. The user interface is quite simple and easy to use. Just click connect, select the keyboard, and that's it, the board is connected. So it's basically the same process as VIA, except for the addition that you can now upload your own images or GIFs to the TFT screen, change your keybinds, set macros, and of course, change the RGB colors of the keys. Best of all, it's all configured on your web browser, so there is no need to download any shady software for flashing or configuring. Alright, so my experience of both the ND TKL and ND 75 has been okay so far. For about $110 US, you're getting a decent Elo pre-built TKL that comes with the rapid disassembly system, tri-mode connectivity, a premium looking backweight, amazing stock stats, has support for PCB mount ones, and most interestingly amongst them all, the 7U spacebar and F13 layout. This is the first time I've ever seen this layout in a pre-built, and I'm glad there is finally a brand that can adopt these into an entry-level price. You'd usually find a lot of these in higher end boards, but for this one, it's really surprising. Definitely better than the other ones like the GX87 from Nichols. And lastly, for the ND 75, I think this keyboard is almost perfect for $99 US. One last thing that makes it perfect will be the connectors, and that's it. Overall, I'm impressed with these two boards. They're both great for the price, especially for what you get. I think that with the cheapest option of these is an insane value, and I would most definitely recommend them. They are both most likely the best budget boards I've tried this year. And that's my comprehensive review of the Chilkey ND TKL and ND 75 keyboard. If you're interested in picking one up, the links to buy one will be down in the description box below. Additionally, if you'd like to support me, you could also use my referral link for Chilkey's store. Massive thank you to Chilkey for sending the keyboards over for today's review, and thank you to everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this new style of content that I'm making. I wish to continue doing this for the future of the channel, so make sure to subscribe if you like this approach. All relevant links will be in the description box below if you wish to support the channel. It will be greatly appreciated. And that's about it. Thanks, and see y'all in the next one.